I could think was, what the hell am I doing? Seminary? Seriously? With a universe this vast and unknowable, what are the odds that this story of Jesus is true? Come on, Nadia. It's a fucking fairy tale. And in the very next moment, I thought, except throughout my life, I've experienced it to be true. I once heard someone say that my belief in Jesus makes them suspect that I intellectually suck my thumb at night. But I cannot pretend, as much as sometimes I would like to, that I have not throughout my life experienced the redeeming, destabilizing love of a surprising God. Even when my mind protests, I still can't deny my experiences. This thing is real to me. Sometimes I experience God when someone speaks the truth to me. Sometimes in the moments when I admit I'm wrong. Sometimes in the loving of someone unlovable. Sometimes in reconciliation that feels like it comes from somewhere outside of myself. But almost always, when I experience God, it comes in the form of some kind of death and resurrection. The mystery of the universe, the same universe that sometimes still makes me wonder what the hell I'm doing and that maybe this really is a fairy tale, was created by God. And God chose to reveal who God is by slipping into skin and walking among us as Jesus. And the love and grace and mercy of Jesus was so offensive to us that we killed him. The night before this happened, Jesus gathered with some real fuck-ups, held up bread and said, "Take and eat. This is my body for you." And then he went to the cross. But death could not contain God. God said yes to all of our polite no thank yous by rising from the dead. Death and resurrection. It is the Christian story as it has been told to me, starting with Mary Magdalene, the first one to tell it, and as it has been confirmed in my experience. I have only my confession of my own real brokenness, and confession of my own real faith to offer in the chapters that follow. My story is not entirely chronological. Time often folds in on itself throughout the book. But rather, it's thematic. It is about the development of my faith, the expression of my faith, and the community of my faith. And it is the story of how I have experienced this Jesus thing to be true. How the Christian faith, while wildly misrepresented in so much of American culture, is really about death and resurrection. It's about how God continues to reach into the graves we dig for ourselves and pull us out, giving us new life, in ways both dramatic and small. This faith helped me get sober, and it is helping me, forgive the fundamentalism of my Church of Christ upbringing, and it helps me to not always have to be right. Smiley TV preachers might tell you that following Jesus is about being good so that God will bless you with cash and prizes. But really, it's much more gruesome and meaningful. It's about spiritual physics. Something has to die for something new to live. Death and resurrection, the recurring experience of seeing the emptiness, weeping over our inability to fill it or even understand it, and then listening to the sound of God speaking our names and telling God's story, is a messy business. But it's my business, and it's the most beautiful thing I can tell you about. Chapter 1. The Rowing Team. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. During my early years of sobriety, I spent most Monday nights in a smoke-filled parish hall with some friends who were also sober alcoholics, drinking bad coffee. Pictures of the Virgin Mary looked down on us, as prayer and despair and cigarette smoke and hope rose to the ceiling. We were a cranky bunch whose lives were in various states of repair. There was Candace, a suburban housewife, who was high on heroin for her debutante ball. Stan, the depressive poet, self-deprecating and soulful, and Bob, the retired lawyer, who'd been sober since before Jesus was born, but for some reason still looked a little bit homeless.